What is going on, Jet fans? I am Matt O'Leary back with another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about Chad Alexander leaving the New York Jets. Some people are up in arms over it, but I am not convinced that it's going to be such an issue. Why? Losing Chad Alexander might actually be good for the Jets. All right, guys, the big game is here. 3 plays on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure to sign up with my code down below in the description. There's a link. Get in on the action while you can. I'm excited for this game. So Isaiah Pacheco higher than 69.5 rushing yards is my first play. I think they're going to utilize him a lot in this game. Christian McCaffrey higher than 5 receptions. I think that Brock Purdy's going to be checking the ball down. We know how good of a weapon Christian McCaffrey is in both the rushing game and the passing game. And then finally, you have George Kittle at a higher with a scorcher of 1.2 times. 0.5 rush plus receiving touchdowns, so he's just got to get in the end zone. I think both tight ends get in the end zone with George Kittle and Travis Kelce, but I'm putting George Kittle in because he's got the scorcher. 10 to win, 71.90. Get in on the action using my code over at Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so if you're asking yourself, who is Chad Alexander? Why are so people up in arms about losing Chad Alexander? Allow me to explain. Over the past 5 years, he's been the team's director of player personnel. He came over from the Baltimore Ravens, where he spent 20 years with them. 2019, he becomes the director of player personnel. And now at this point is leaving to be the assistant general manager with the Los Angeles Chargers. This is the second big not free agent. Oh my God. We're not to free agency yet. The second big front office, there's the F word I was looking for, front office move over the last couple weeks. First, it was Rex Hogan, who was pretty much Joe Douglas's right-hand man, who ends up leaving the Jets and him mutually part ways, however they want to say it. This is a little bit different because Chad Alexander was here as a director of player personnel and is leaving for a promotion to assistant general manager. And the Jets had an assistant general manager opening after Rex Hogan was let go or left, or however you want to word it. Interesting. If you're asking yourself what a director of player personnel does, they are oftentimes in charge of kind of a lot of different things, overseeing the roster, but free agency, contracts, they oversee some scouts of the NFL, for other NFL teams, like when Jets, are scouting other NFL teams, that kind of a thing. And in this specific instance with Chad Alexander, I keep seeing that, he's definitely going to be a general manager one of these days. Is high respected, well respected around the league. And that's the wording and phrasing with pretty much anybody in this front office. Chad Alexander got that phrasing. Rex Hogan, well respected around the league, well liked. He's going to catch on quick somewhere. My pushback on that would be, if that were the case, right? If they were so good at their job and so well respected, wouldn't the Jets be good right now? Like, the Jets have not necessarily been the model of free agency and drafting over the last 5 years. Yeah, the 2022 draft class was absolutely awesome, but they came off of a horrific showing in both free agency and the NFL draft in 2023 and are shaking things up. The Jets will get 2 new voices in here, one as an assistant GM, one as a director of player personnel, which are 2 very high-ranking positions under Joe Douglas. I'm good with there being a shakeup. I mean, since Joe Douglas has been here, the best free agent signing has been DJ Reed. And then other than that, there's been a lot of swings and misses. Alan Lazard, swing and miss. Dalvin Cook, swing and miss. Go back further. Carl Lawson, swing and miss. Liked him. 2 hurt, 2 injured. Corey Davis, swing and miss. CJ Uzama, swing and a miss. There's been a lot of those, unfortunately. And in the draft this past year, there was a lot of debate on what they would do, what they should do. And I don't know, it was an okay draft. Maybe Will McDonald turns into a stud. I hope so. I think he's talented, and I hold nothing against Will McDonald. I just am not sold with the logic that the Jets used last year. They didn't go out and get a backup quarterback. They went into the year with a shaky offensive line, and when things didn't work out, there's a bunch of excuses. So for me, you look at this as an opportunity, or this is how I'm choosing to look at it, as an opportunity to get some new voices in here. And some other pushback that you'll hear on it is that if Chad Alexander was promoted to assistant GM, and then down the line, like let's say maybe the Jets have a good year after this season, he gets hired as a general manager. If he's let's say he's this general manager candidate, well, then the Jets would get compensation. They get third round picks for him, right? Third round draft compensation. That is appealing, but that would also be so far down the line, right? So if he's getting hired in the 2025 cycle, that would be 2026 compensatory picks. So if you ask me the question, would I rather have a change now in 2024 to help the 2024 Jets, or a third round pick or third round picks in 2026? Give me the change now to help the immediate, because the Jets are in a spot over the next couple of years with their quarterback in Aaron Rodgers where they're going to be in a window of trying to compete now. And the last year they tried to do this in 2023, they didn't have a good contingency plan at quarterback or on the offensive line. And I'm glad that someone's being held accountable. To me, it was the biggest issue with this team. 4 plays into their season, they lose Aaron Rodgers, and out the window goes the Super Bowl aspirations. I understand that, but they all operated like, okay, we'll run it back, we're safe, we'll try again next year. That environment isn't going to breed success. What breeds success is having some pressure to have an impact, because how long has it been? Joe Douglas is going into his 6th year as general manager. 6th. They haven't had a winning season yet. And I know that there were circumstances around this year why that didn't happen, but I don't mind the pressure being turned up on these guys because it's necessary. They have to make the playoffs this year. You have to have a winning season. You have to probably not only make the playoffs, but win a playoff game. Make a little bit of a run here to show that this is working. I'm for this. And I get it. Like, Chad Alexander was with a great organization, the Ravens, for a really, really long time. And now he's going with the Chargers and a promotion. You're like, oh, well, are the Jets making a mistake here? I don't know. I think if both those guys and Chad Alexander and Rex Hogan were as well respected and as good as their jobs as the majority of the NFL media is talking about them, then the Jets would be good right now. And they aren't in that spot. They still have work to be done. Especially on the offensive side of the football. So I'm not crying over losing Chad Alexander. Maybe I look like an idiot 2 years from now. He gets hired and is a great general manager somewhere. Maybe. You never know. There's no way to know. But what I do know is that in 2023, or going into 2024 now, the Jets made too many mistakes in 2023, and they needed changes in 2024, and I'm okay with them making some changes in the front office. Joe Douglas, pressure's on you now. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.